62% of Americans say buying a home in 2026 feels unrealistic. That's up significantly from 49% just 1 year ago. And only 36% believe they can actually afford to buy a house right now. If I was a first-time home buyer, I would feel the exact same way. Prices shot up like crazy during the COVID era when rates were super low. And now we're looking at rates over 6%. And just to add to that, back in 1981, 44% of home sales were to first-time homebuyers. Think about that for a second. That's a crazy number. So 40 years ago, almost half of every home that was bought by a first-time homeowner. So in 2025, that number has dropped to just 21%. So only 1 in 5 homes are being bought by a first-time homeowner. And the median age of a first-time homebuyer jumped to 40 years old. Back in 1981, that was 29. So what has happened? Why is it so hard to buy a home? And why is the age of a first-time home buyer so much higher than it was 40 years ago? Well, there's a few reasons that I'm going to jump into. And if you find value in this video, please subscribe. And if you want to run some numbers, click the link below to schedule a call. And on a side note, my wife and I started a podcast and it's called We Love Our Family, But Damn. We talk about everything related to money, marriages, and family. So if that interests you, please click the link below and follow us there as well. Well, there's a few reasons why we're at where we're at in 2026. In my opinion, the number one reason is because rates were so low during COVID that everyone in them and their mothers bought and refinanced and locked in super low interest rates. Not only were there 5 to 10 offers on every single home, everyone was outbidding each other. So homes that were listed for $500,000 ended up selling for $700,000. Homes that were listed for $1 million ended up selling for 1.2 or 1.3 million. So prices skyrocketed. So we're sitting here today in 2026. Home prices are up significantly. Now, add to that, rates are over 6.5%. So now you got a high-priced home and you got an over 6% rate, making the monthly payment almost impossible to afford. In addition to that, we had corporations, institutions, big companies scooping up single-family homes. This was not a thing in the past. Big companies were not coming up scooping up homes to buy as investments. So that's one big problem, and I think that should be strictly limited to regular Americans. The other big issue is home prices have lapped income growth. Since 2019, home prices have risen 53%, while the median household income has only grown by 24%. So people's wages are just not keeping up with the acceleration of home prices. One of the other obstacles that people are dealing with is first-time homebuyers on average now are putting 10% as a down payment. So now down payment has become a big issue as well, because it used to be where you could put 3 to 5% down and you still can, but on average, first-time homebuyers are putting 10% down. So it's taking a lot more time for people to save up enough money to even put down as a down payment when buying a home. And now because rent is high, student debt, rising home prices, it takes families 7 years to save for a down payment. But one thing I will say, hope is not lost. So if you locked in and refinanced or bought a house in 2021 or 2020 and you've locked in a low interest rate, there's gonna come a time where those people eventually need to sell. That was the other issue from 2022 to 2025. When you have such a low rate and such a low monthly payment locked in, it really prevents you from A, selling, and B, moving. So there's gonna come a tipping point. There's gonna come a time where those people eventually need to sell. Young families who've outgrown their homes, or empty nesters who now need to downsize and buy something smaller eventually are gonna sell. And we're already starting to see that happen. Right here where I live in Phoenix, we're starting to see that. There's more and more inventory coming on the market. There's not many more buyers. And a lot of the homes that are being listed are being negotiated way down. So that's one bright spot that we can look forward to. So 1 year ago, Redfin reported that this is already happening. They came out with a report that says there are 500,000 more sellers than buyers. Now, this is nationwide, so it could make a difference based on where you live. I'm from Los Angeles, and there's still some areas where it's still super competitive, multiple offer situation, and it's really hard to get your offer accepted. But in a lot of other markets, you're able to negotiate the price down, get seller credits, which will cover your closing costs. But not just that, you can also get seller credits to buy down your interest rate. So I've personally helped people lock in rates in the 5% range because they've gotten so much seller credit that they're able to buy down the rate. And if that's something you're interested in learning more about and want to run some numbers, you can click the link below and schedule a call. So that was 1 year ago. Fast forward to today, now we're up to 630,000 more sellers than buyers. The market is starting to balance out, and we're gonna come to a place where homes are gonna become more affordable again. So I totally get it. Buying a house in 2026 is genuinely hard, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The market is starting to ease. We do have a lot more sellers today than we did 2 or 3 years ago. And I think that's going to continue because you cannot stay in the same home forever. Eventually, more people are going to sell, which is already happening. We're already seeing it. So again, in my market here in Phoenix, most homes, unless they're priced extremely low, have a ton of room for negotiation to get a lower price, get your closing costs covered, and buy down your rate. And in addition to that, we also have 2-1 buy down programs where your rate can start in the 3% range in the first year, 4% range in the second year, and you'll end up in the 5% range. So there's a lot of creative things we could do to help structure your loan so that it's affordable. So if you have any questions or you found this video helpful, please subscribe and book a call, and I look forward to helping you out.